Once again, welcome back to the fourth Prestigio here at Barcelona, Palau Sant Jordi. This is a little recap of what's happened before, as now all the live audience is tuning in on TV. I am, of course, Scotty Dubler, the voice of American Flat Track on fanschoice.tv, and I've been joined this weekend by Gregory Haynes, who is the Dorna World Superbike announcer. Man, I've been having a blast, Gregory. How about you?
Oh, me too, Scotty. We've seen so much action across the heat races already. Just a few highlights here of what's already happened here so far this evening. We're in the Palau Sant Jordi in the modern era for the fourth time. And, of course, this man, fresh from a third MotoGP title and a fifth Grand Prix motorcycle racing title this year, Marc Marquez. They've been going through the heat races so far. Just to explain to you, if you're joining us here at the Superprestigio for the first time, the format and what they've done here. Several qualifying heats earlier on this afternoon. And the fastest rider from each of them went into Group A, the second to Group B, the third to Group C, and they did that for both the Superprestigio and the Open categories. Superprestigio, many of the top riders from the MotoGP and World Superbike calendars and their different paddocks, and then the Open category, some of the best flat trackers from around the world and riders from Supermoto and Supercross and Enduro, and they've had their heat races as well. We've now had 8 riders decided to go through towards their individual finals, and then later on tonight the top 4 from both Superprestigio and from Open will join each other for the first and only time this evening in the Super Final to decide who wins the Superprestigio of 2016. We've had 3 here in the modern era so far. Brad Baker's won 2 of them. Marc Marquez has won 1 of them, but Marc Marquez has never beaten Brad Baker in a head-to-head battle, because the year he won, 2014, Baker was out of action. So far, Scotty, this evening, as you've seen from the highlights so far, the general trend seems to be the number of crashes we're seeing, and particularly down at Turn 1.
Turn 1, especially off the start, because they've got so much more momentum and so much more speed, because the starting gate is way outside turn number 4. They get into the first corner and cannot get the bike slowed down. And it seems like the rider from behind actually hits the rider in front of them, and it's a chain reaction. About 2 or 3 bikes usually go down. So it's been very important. As people at home have noticed, they better take some notes from Brad Baker, because he backs off really early, lets everybody slip wide, and will slide through to the lead on the very bottom of the racetrack. So people at home are watching on fanschoice.tv and have pointed out that Brad Baker's line is the fastest through the first corner for sure, by letting off early and keeping it down there on the very bottom of the racetrack. Coming up will be our first final. It's a Superprestigio class, and there will be 4 finals for that class. Is that right, Gregory?
Absolutely, 4 finals in the Superprestigio class and 3 in the Open class. And don't forget, you can follow all the action live. Many welcome to all of you around the world. Motors TV in the UK, of course, and of course in other countries around the world, Australia, South Africa, the States. You've been with us right from the start on fanschoice.tv this evening, and a very good evening as well if you're following live online through MotoGP.com and other sources. It's really going out to so many people now around the world. And don't forget, DTXBarcelona.com. DTXBarcelona.com is the official website for the Superprestigio, and you can follow all of the live timing on there as well, very much like we have here in the commentary box at the Palau Sant Jordi. I'm
a little surprised that Revolta's not in the final, because he had some tough luck and was running up front several times, but just ended up going backwards. He got stuck out in the high line. He had a lot of contact with other riders, and he did not make the main event.
Very, very unfortunate indeed. And also, in talking about riders unfortunately not making the main event, 3 riders unable to start at all. One of them is Julian Simon. He was injured in practice earlier on this evening, the Moto2 World Champion of 2010, and he was going quite well actually if you look at his times from practice. So Simon out of action. Jonas Kilmer-Korpi's not riding here this year either, the number 610 rider, the 4-time FIM long track world champion. Best wishes to him. He was actually tweeting from his hospital bed, I saw, in Andorra last weekend. And then, of course, Jared Mees, who in some ways it was his turn to win this year, of course, the multiple AMA Grand National winner. He's out of action after a crash in November, and this is an incident we had with Cecchini down in the foreground. That's Omori in the background. Yeah. And Hales there, and it could have been so much worse earlier on tonight. That was one of the heat races for the Open category.
And Massa actually is okay, and he's going to be competing in there. They're going to have a slide contest. They call it a drifting contest. That's going on in here in a little bit. We might not see that here on fanschoice.tv, but we're taking a look at some of the replays from the qualifying heat races. There's the 36. He's a little deceiving because he has a big number 0 on the back, but he ran up front all evening long, and he picked up that last win right there to put himself in the main event.
Don't forget to send us a few tweets as well with your tips and your suggestions and any questions. We will have a few breaks in proceedings. We might try and answer a few questions for you. That's another one we had earlier on again at turn 1. But Scotty Dubler and myself, Greg Haynes TV on Twitter, if you want to send us a few tweets later on with your questions, and just send us your predictions as well. Who do you think might be winning this year? This is number 19 winning earlier on in Superprestigio, Xavier Simeon coming through, and he's looking very strong as well. And what they've been doing through these 3 heat races is scoring points. What it means then now is that we go into the finals, first of all, for the Superprestigio category. Here is the format. 4 finals coming up, 8 riders in each of them. The first 3 will be 8-lap encounters with the same point system as the heat races, 10 for the win, 8 for second, 6 for third. The 4th final will be longer, 14 laps, and they'll be giving out extra points as well, 16, 14 and 12 for the top 3, and so on. What we're watching underneath these graphics in the meantime are some of the other contests going on, and this is the drift style contest going on here as we get towards 8 o'clock. It's 25 to 8 local time here in Barcelona, and the last chance qualifier now coming up as well, because although we have 4 finals for Superprestigio, we only have 3 for the open category. So where are we in the proceedings in terms of the actual track action? When we get going again, we'll have the first final for Superprestigio, then the couple of last chance qualifiers for the open riders, then we'll be moving into all of the finals, and then, Scotty, for the first time tonight, we'll see the junior riders as well.
And they are on 65cc KTM motorcycles. None of them look like a KTM that I see in the United States, because most of those are all orange, but these guys have them all decked out in different colors, different rims, different colors of everything, and these little guys are flying. There's a number 31 and number 51. Both of them are very, very fast. Again, the competition on the racetrack right now, as we watched all the replays, that's actually the drifting competition. I believe it's done by fans' applause. Is that right?
Absolutely, and also we've seen Omori as well taking part in that, haven't we, over the last few years? But here's Brad Baker having a bit of fun out there as well. And don't forget, there's still people streaming into the arena here at the Palau Sant Jordi. It's interesting, the other day I was looking at the arrangements for the Palau Sant Jordi in 2017. One of the first big events will be Disney on Ice with Frozen in March, and you'd think they were on ice already with the number of incidents we've seen so far here tonight on the dirt track surface. But this is great stuff. This is
Bullet doing some donuts, just like the NASCAR guys do when they win a race.
Live pictures you're seeing here in the Palau Sant Jordi with Brad Baker in action, number 6, of course. He almost certainly will be a contender.
Stand that bike straight up and down and do a perfect wheelie. He's out there having some fun, trying to get the fans into tonight's event. There's the checkered flag from Kevin Clark. This is the drift competition.
Oh, nearly lost it there. 2013 champion, of course, in the Grand Nationals over in the States. And a few problems, a few technical issues, weren't there, with the Harley this year? But part of that, by the looks of things, amazing Indian super team alongside Brian Smith and Jared Mees next year. And can they bring the Indian name a first title in the Flat Track Grand National Series since what would be 1953? That would be quite remarkable if it happens, and I think there's a good chance it could happen in 2017. Right, who's next up? This is number 30
Alan
now.
Birtwistle from England. And he can really slide in the corner. He's a showman. If I follow him on Twitter, he puts some really cool videos. He stands that bike straight up and down. He still has his light shoe on, his steel shoe on, and he's out there just having some fun. And this is like a showman part of the show here tonight.
Yeah, it's great to see him back here as well. He was the British champion in their dirt track series this year, and isn't it fantastic with all of these riders under one roof, under the dome of the Palau Sant Jordi? Birtwistle will certainly be a contender again, and he was almost in the super final last year. There was a last minute hiccup, and in the end he didn't get through, unfortunately, but he'll be hoping for more in 2016. But 9 rookies are here this year in the open class, 6 rookies in the Superprestigio class, and then in the junior class, some of the riders that we've seen going very well indeed in the Copper Roddy here in Catalonia. The top 8 riders from that category are all here in the junior class now. 5 of them, though, are rookies. We'll see them later. Hey, here's Birtwistle.
He was doing a one-handed donut and then finally laid it down. But again, they're having fun out here just for the fans. We have, I believe, 1 more rider, maybe, no, 2 more riders out here. Looks like Massa's getting ready to come up next, and that's good because he picked himself up off the ground.
And Scotty Dubler, you must be tempted to get down there yourself for this part of proceedings.
This looks like fun. I'd rather be out there racing, but this looks like they're having just a lot of fun too in front of a bunch of fans here who've a lot of them gone up there, grabbed something to eat or drink, because this is one of the few intermission breaks we have here at the Superprestigio in Barcelona.
Greetings, by the way, to Chris Carr watching back home, of course, now the Chief Competitions Officer as well for American Flat Track, and he's been with us in the booth here for the last couple of years. And I'm sure Chris will be enjoying this one as well. Now, this is the man to watch. This is the drifting specialist on the Suzuki. And remember, he's just had a pretty enormous incident just a few minutes ago.
Down the back straightaway.
Yeah.
So Massa can really lay it down. He'll drag that foot peg, and I've seen him actually drag his handlebar on the ground too. He's trying to get really low right there and let it drag.
Yeah, and he slides the front wheel, doesn't he? Just as much as the rear. Look at him. But it's not just spectacular. I remember, Scotty, last year when he came here, we were expecting some heroics, just like we're seeing now. Wow, there he goes. But he actually went into the super final last year. He's quick as well as spectacular.
He won a qualifying heat race.
He did.
And the track was coming around to him earlier during qualifying later in the day because he likes to drift. He likes the rubber on the racetrack, and I think the track's getting more to his liking now. And
you can see the smile in the eyes when he comes to a halt. Brilliant stuff here watching Omori.
Massa sat with us last night. I sat beside Brad Baker and Massa at our dinner afterwards, and man, he's funny. He doesn't understand much English. He's from Tokyo, Japan, just outside Tokyo, and he is here just to have fun, he said.
You've got to go all the way back to July 1981 when the first kind of event like this was held. It wasn't the Superprestigio back then. It was called the Solo Moto, and you'll see lots of Solo Moto signs, Solo Moto around the side of the arena here. Very popular Spanish motorcycle magazine, the biggest in the country, and it was staged in 81 back at the Canódromo Diagonal, which is on the other side of Barcelona, and it was Tony Elias Sr. who won that one in July of 1981. Then there was a break for 10 years, and the first event they actually held here was in the Palau Sant Jordi, 1991, 10 years after that first one, and that was a one-off with a few top Grand Prix riders like Tony Elias, Carlos Checa, Alberto Puig was here as well. But they actually invited some American dirt trackers over as well. None other than Jay Springsteen was actually here. Three-time US champion Steve Moorhead was here as well back in 91. And then from 2014 onwards, we've had events going on, 2 in 2014 and then 1 for the last 2 years, including this 2016 event. Marc Marquez, Jaime Alguersuari Sr. very much promoting the event. But it's getting more and more serious all the time now.
It sure is, and people were lined up outside, up against the fence, out there by the pit areas. The teams were unloading and bringing their bikes in. They were here all day. It's been incredible. A lot of people out here with the 93s, flags hanging down. They've got signs. They've got their own section over there. They're cheering for them, and they're lining them up down there at the starting gate. It's time for our first main event, our first final. It's the Superprestigio class. We have 8 riders, the fastest 8 through the qualifying heat races, and the 2 winners from the last chance qualifiers are coming up in main event number 1. Marcel Schroeder on the 23, Alex Marquez 73, Tony Elias on the 24, Javi Verge on 97, Jean Mir on the 36, Javier Simeon on the 19, Marc Marquez 93, and 88, that is Ricky Carduce. Those are the riders in this first main event here, our first final for the Superprestigio class. You need to finish up front, gain as many points as you can because there are 4 finals in the Superprestigio class.
And news hot off the press from Tom Beaujard here from Motojournal in the commentary box. Thank you very much, Tom. It's a dislocated right shoulder, I'm afraid, for Cicchini, who went down earlier on in the open category. Dislocated right shoulder, most unfortunate, of course, but it could have been so much worse because it was, Scotty, a horrible incident.
It was terrible. That one rider had absolutely nowhere to go. Went right over, hit the rider's midsection. Man, it was a scary sight, but good thing is we're on a short course, and not a lot of speed was involved, and the rider appears to be okay. Only a dislocated shoulder, not a very serious injury. Here we go. It is time for our first final of the night, Superprestigio class. Gregory, are you ready, sir?
I most certainly am. I'm getting quite excited here. Are you? Who are we going to put your money on this one? If we had to put money on it, you'd have to say Marc Marquez.
93 has to be the favorite, but anybody can win. Tony Elias has been gaining ground, and he looks very impressive today.
And remember now, the heat races are gone. That's how we've decided these 8 riders. 8 laps for this first heat race.
Final.
Thank you very much for this first final. And then we will have 4 altogether, but increased points in the 4th and final.
Look how far outside Marc Marquez is, next to the outside gate.
Here we go then.
Marquez has the lead into the first corner. Can he get it slowed down? And he does. He drifts a little bit wide down here in turn number 2. He will still lead him down the back straightaway. Looks like the 23 is in second, possibly 24. It's hard to see from up here. Now Elias on the 3rd spot, looking for 2nd place.
Some bumping and boring going on as well there, but up into second now then goes Tony Elias. He's moved ahead of Marcel Schroeder. There's the live gap then, 0.7 of a second, but it's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. who are all together. There was some debris flying as they came out of turn 2 first time round.
Robbins racing back there for that third spot. Now they're 3 wide down the back straightaway for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They know how important each point is.
Yes, remember they're scoring points here through these finals. 10 for the win, 8 for 2nd, 6 for 3rd, then it's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 down to 8th position. What's the order? Look at this.
Check
Tony Elias is catching Marquez.
Catching up to the leader. The fastest lap last time by was Tony Elias, 1:2.187. He's getting faster. Like I said, Tony has found something and is making his way towards the front. He can now see Marc Marquez, who looks like he's out there on the cruise control just a little bit.
Oh, great stuff. Marc Marquez, Moto2 World Champion of 2012. Tony Elias, Moto2 World Champion of 2010. Another 4 Grand Prix titles, of course, for Marc Marquez, including MotoGP. This year he's looking over his left shoulder.
Marquez knows he's there now. Elias is right there in hot pursuit of the leader. Marc Marquez has been just kind of cruising out in front, trying to pick up the pace. Tony Elias trying to make a move. Wide flag is out. 1 more lap to go.
And in the meantime, there's a titanic scrap going on for 3rd between Vieja, Schrotter, Mir, Simeon, and Cardouz. Alex Marquez has had a problem. He's all the way down at the back of the field after winning a heat race earlier on. Marc Marquez wins the first Superprestigio final. 10 points to him. Elias is 2nd. And who's going to get this 3rd? Vieja has broken away from Mir, who goes up to 4th. Then it's Schrotter, Simeon, Ricky Cardouz is 7th, and Alex Marquez, a very difficult start to proceedings after an incident. Look, 7.5 seconds behind. Alex Marquez then only scoring 1 point, 10 to his brother.
Marc Marquez did what he had to do. He got out front. Looked like he's trying to ride smart. Didn't want to push it. Didn't want to go down. Here's a look at the restart. I was very surprised Marc Marquez started way outside, drops it to the bottom of the racetrack, drifts a little bit wide right here, but has enough momentum to carry himself off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway and retain the lead. You can see how big the lead was, and here comes Tony Elias working his way up to the front. Got into 2nd, actually tracked down the leader, almost got right on the back tire of the winner, which was Marc Marquez. Now we'll shift our attention back to the open class. This is now our last chance qualifier for the open class. I believe the winner only, and the gate's already dropping. Here we go.
Yeah, only the winner will go through to the final. They have 1 less final than Superprestigio. Great move by the rider at the back to dive through, and somebody's almost, oh, somebody's down. That was a big one coming out of turn 2. Will we see a red flag? We'll wait to see what happens, but at the front, Alan Birtwhistle, the British champion, leads. Pickering, his fellow Brit, is 2nd, then it's Gerard Baillot. This is where the incidents happen. There's rider and bike still stranded there on the run to turn 3.
The bike has been removed off the track. The rider is still down. They're getting him checked out right now. We're going to keep racing. It's Birtwhistle out front, pulling away the 38 of Jorge Pickering. Right there, I believe it's George Pickering. He's from Great Britain. He's up there in 2nd.
Yes,
now the 17 comes through. That's Gerard Baillot.
And it's Jordi Casas, the Spanish rider, who is down. He is out of the race, obviously. Yellow flag out. There's a stretcher actually being taken to Casas, who's there on the outside.
And now the red flag does come out.
Ah, there we go. So Jordi Casas will require medical treatment.
Just as he gets on his feet, I might point out. So, well, that's a tough break for Birtwhistle.
It is indeed. They'll have to restart this one, or will they declare it a result? Here's a replay. Watch out for Jordi Casas, number 34. He's off to the right. There was a separate there he is, up against the barrier, and Piedra doing a very good job to avoid him. I would imagine he was winded. Hopefully no more than that. Look out for him in the background. Up similar to Omori earlier on, actually.
He rolled quite a ways down the track. The steel shoe actually comes completely off the boot. You don't see that very often either.
Well, that just shows you the speed they're doing. And it might look slow on the TV, but my goodness, Scotty, they're going quickly, aren't they, around here? They really are.
They are hauling the mail, as we say in the United States. They have it going on. They're getting faster and faster. And that was the rider is up, and the crowd's making a lot of noise for him as he's walking. Looks like he's clapping for himself. He's excited. He's about halfway down the back straightaway on the infield, so I don't think he'll be able to make the restart. But Jordi Casas?
Yep, no, this is him, Jordi Casas, number 34, one of the Spanish riders, just perhaps holding his left hip there. The bike, incidentally, I don't know how damaged it is, but it did roll over a few times. This is a replay of the start of this last chance qualifier. Remember, only the winner goes through. There's Casas on the right. There he is. Oh, pushed up the back. That's not the first time tonight we've seen a rider pushed up the side of the barrier like that, because it happened to Masa Omori earlier on, the Japanese superstar. So what we're going to have now is a restart Casas looks okay from what we can see, and it's fantastic to see him on his feet. Whether the bike is in a good enough state to restart, I don't know. There it was, actually, just behind him. Unusual, because we haven't really seen so many red flags like this before. I would be very surprised if we had an aggregate time situation. I would imagine now the race will effectively be declared null and void, which is tough luck for Alan Birtwistle, who had a half-second lead over the Catalan rider, Gerard Baillot. But I think they'll just start again now from 0. Let's see, because the timing screen at the moment is still saying 3 laps. So we'll see the graphic on the screen. They will have to make a bit of a decision here in the heat of the moment. Will they give them a 3-lap shootout, or will they start it all again?
And they're showing Jordi Casas as retired, but we saw him making his way through the tunnel, so he's trying to make his way back out.
So as soon as they reset the timing screen here in the Palau Sant Jordi, we'll let you know. There's the bike.
With no front number plate. They're doing a little shift on the handlebars, and now they're looking at the rear wheel just a little bit. I don't think they're going to wait for him, though.
Well, they haven't got too much time, of course, and there's TV schedules they need to abide to as well, with satellite signals open around the world. Last chance one. Here's your rundown. He is included on this graphic then. Third rider down, number 34. You can see the bike just behind the graphic here. And as soon as I say that timing screen resets, we will let you know what they're doing. I expect it will be a complete restart of a 6-lap duration. Motocross starting gates.
There he is. He just climbed out from underneath the tunnel. He's trying to get on that motorcycle.
Wow. That's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. And remember, if he wins this race, this particular race, he would actually go through to the final for the open category. Here we go again then for the last chance qualifier. All of the riders who failed to get through from their heat races, only the winner here will go into...
The 72's overheating over there.
That's big problems for Jenis Gelada, the Spanish rider. Let's get this one started as soon as possible, he'll be hoping. Remember the Moto3 Junior World Championship in Valencia a few weeks ago. Dana Porta had a fire. Well, we don't want that happening here.
They were actually throwing loose dirt underneath the motorcycle, so it's not slick. You can see the front tires completely wet on the 72 bike. He's going to have his hands full as he gets into the blue groove, and he cannot get slowed down, and he's the rider that goes down.
And he's wiped another one out with him, so well called there, Scotty. Down into turns 3 and 4. Look, they're pushing each other wide for second and third, and Birtwistle comes through, but in the lead is the 30 bike this time of Alan Birtwistle, so he's kept the advantage. Well, that's exactly what he needed to do. It was a complete restart, so 6 laps in total, 4 to go now as they cross the line. Birtwistle with the advantage.
Oh, here comes the 17, moving up into second. Gerard Baillot moves into second place in a hurry. He's got to make up some time, catch up to Birtwistle. He's going to have to make another aggressive pass if he wants to go to the main event.
So it's as you were, because Baillot was second, if you remember, behind Birtwistle when the red flag came out. So it's status quo, really, if you like. 3 to go now then. This is where we were when the red flag came out, so it's exactly the same.
17 is on the move.
Wow.
You better watch out. He's going to make something happen. He's going to have to go in there, take that line away, maybe use a little elbow grease, and move it and open up the door.
There's a back marker coming up as well. I hope he moves out of the way. Here he goes, here he goes.
The door opened up, and he takes advantage, and Birtwistle goes down.
Oh, what a shame, because he had such an advantage.
White flag is out.
He will not be in the final then. As you say, white flag out there on the last lap, and Baillot muscles his way through, takes the lead.
That's the most aggressive ride I've seen here tonight, and there is your winner, Gerard Baillot on the number 17 bike, and he worked his way up to the front, and he is super pumped up to do so.
Oh, wow. He knew there was no point finishing second. There's no points involved in the last chance qualifier. It's win it or bin it. Baillot wins it, and unfortunately, it was Birtwistle binning it and classed there in 6th position because Gelada and Borgiotti were a lap down. Wow, that was absolutely remarkable. And now there's another one of those coming up. One more last chance qualifier for the open category.
Look at the restart from our first race we just saw. You see the bike that was overheating deep in the field. He goes out of the screen. There's Birtwistle, goes a little bit wide. The 213 takes over second momentarily, but here comes the 17. Here's one more look at the restart. Watch the right side of the screen. The 72 just could not get the bike slowed down. He goes down for a ride. But we keep on racing. Yeah,
and wipes out the Italian as well, unfortunately. We saw the bike overheating. Now, look at this.
Birtwistle slips a little bit wide. 17, the door open. He had to grab a handful. He had to get in there, and that's how you make a pass on a short track.
Yep, he had to have a go, didn't he?
He, of course, did not want to put that rider down, but he got in there and just clipped his handlebar and put the 30 bike down, Birtwistle.
Yeah, racing incident, I think it's fair to say there. Very unfortunate, of course, for Birtwistle, the British champion, who will not be going through now to the final. Here is the second last chance qualifier. It's fast and furious here in Barcelona for the open category. Again, then, 6 laps, 8 riders, and only the winner will go through into the final. It's Omori on the outside, number 70. Look how tight they are.
Whoa. One of them goes down. No, Omori goes wide, trying to miss the incident. It looks like the 215 is out front. That's one of Noyes' buddies, right?
It is. Dennis will be delighted back in the States. It's Sastre then who's in the lead of this one, and he was 6-time winner from 6 races in the rookie class of the Spanish National Championship this year, and actually P2 in the Coppa Roddy as well to Ferran Cardus, and he was in the junior class here last year and indeed the year before. So it just shows you can go through the junior category and make big progress, and at the moment then Sastre will be going into the final if it stays like this.
New rider takes over second place. It's Sylvain Bedard takes over second, but now will he have enough time to catch up to the leader?
Well, he's got 3 laps to go as they come down into 1 and 2, so we're halfway through this one. Oh, it's tight as well with Omori right up behind Marzotti, number 48, the Italian, 3rd and 4th. We're on board with Omori then in the bottom right of the screen. 2 to go. Here's your fight at the front. Wow, this could change. Bedard may well have a go.
64 is coming for the lead. You better watch out. White flag is out. 1 more lap around this short track right now. The second place rider closes in on the leader. Can he make the same move as the last race? The 215 goes to the very inside. Can he slow down? Here comes second. Not going to make the pass.
Wow, Bedard, that was brilliant stuff. He had to try, and he's really annoyed, but what a great effort from Sylvain Bedard. 3/10 it was. It was a lot less in reality. Brilliant stuff. Ferran Sastre goes through. Look at that. Just under 4/10 of a second. Marzotto must have been thinking, please run into each other, I'll take the victory, but it didn't happen. Omori was 4th, and it was Tom Edwards from Australia and Nogueira in 6th place. Cecchini and Hales, though, out of action in this one. Remember, Toby Hales had an incident earlier, so he didn't start this race, and then Cecchini was down here at turn 1.
Massa, number 70, the rider went down right there in front of him. He had to go wide to miss him and never could make up the time and catch up.
Yeah, that was most unfortunate. And look at this, Sylvain Bedard, the Frenchman, number 64, on the inside, had to have a go there.
Just about made it work. And then he just about high-sided right there, just about got into the back tire, coming to the checkered flag.
Well, he's a 4-time Supermoto of Nations world champion, so he knows what he's doing. But wow, that was tight.
You can hear the little bikes firing up. They sound like really excited little machines. 65cc KTMs, we've got 8 of them coming out. They are in the junior class. Keep your eyes on the 31 and the 51. Those 2 are the fastest in qualifying earlier this afternoon.
Indeed, and Urate, number 51, is one of 5 rookies of the 8 riders, so this is going to be a bit daunting. Just 2 finals for them then as they get going of 6 laps, and it's the same points in all of them, so 10 for the win, 8 for second, 6 for third, and so on, down to 8th position. And these 8 riders were the top 8 of the Coppa Roddy Michelin junior class in 2016. So the Coppa Roddy is the series they have here in Catalonia, and mostly in the province of Lleida, which is about 90 minutes drive up the motorway from here, and they were the top 8 this year. And as we've seen in the past, riders who've been in this junior category have gone through into the open class and are succeeding, just as Ferran Sastre done. In fact, that's exactly the sort of example they needed, isn't it? Sastre's just gone through to the open class final, and these riders, look at them, they're inexperienced, of course. They're between 11 and 15 years of age. What an opportunity for them to be racing here in the Palau Sant Jordi. All of the TV viewers, 6 to 11 years of age, I should say.
I'm going to be excited and curious to see how they make it through the first corner. Have they been learning from the pros? Did they figure out you have to slow down earlier in the first corner? Here we go, 8 of them. Long gate, and it finally drops.
Can you imagine being 6 years of age and racing here in the Palau Sant Jordi? But they are underway here in the junior class.
They did a better job than the first heat race.
That's ridiculous. 6 to 11 years of age, and they've made a better start.
Joel Esteban on the 78, but here comes the 51 I told you to watch out for. Brian Urate.
Yes, he is through, and he was second, and it was actually Max Sanchez who won in the Coppa Roddy this year in their junior class. Where is he at the moment? He's in 3rd position, or is he? Now second, straight through, right on cue.
51 and 31 make their way to the front in a hurry. These are really quick, 6 laps. The time last time was a 1:2.677, so not too far off the pro riders.
That's absolutely incredible. And remember, in the Coppa Roddy, they're riding these bikes. They're riding very similar sorts of tracks as well. Same tyres, so very, very familiar indeed as they come down into what will be the penultimate lap.
They are shifting gears on the motorcycles. They come off the corner, grab a gear, they downshift going into the corner. That actually helps them slow down. Here comes the 31. He's catching up to the 51. White flag is coming out from the American Kevin Clark, our flagman. The flagman to the stars. 1 more lap to go. It's 51 and 31.
Well, Sanchez beat Uriarte this year in the junior class of the Copperodi, but it's the other way around at the moment. Uriarte, who's led right from the beginning, is going to win if he can just stay where he is. Brian Uriarte wins, and look at Kevin Clark giving it some. Max Sanchez second. Oh, great stuff. Well done to the junior riders. Brilliant stuff. And then it was Joel Esteban in, just as he was in the junior category of the Copperodi this year. Here's the full rundown then down to Blai Trias there in 8th position.
And that
brilliant.
That was final number 1. They will come back one more time. We'll add the points from this final and the next final to figure out who the winner is, the champion at the Superprestigio dirt track here at Barcelona, Palau Sant Jordi Arena. 78 had the whole shot, just could not keep the lead away. 51 snuck by early, and now the 31 slides into second. Those two have been the fastest riders all day long. We had 2 practice sessions today, and we also had 2 qualifying time sessions. And now we go back to the Superprestigio class, final race number 2.
And this is important now. Look at these points. Marquez with a 2-point advantage over Elias. Look at Alex Marquez, for example. Look at Carduz. Look at Simeon down the bottom of the screen. They need very strong results. It's that critical run down at turn 1. It's not the widest of tracks, only 11 yards, 10 meters or so wide. They're only 80-meter straights as well, which is about 87 yards. And it's only a 218-yard track anyway. Only a 200-meter track here at the Palau Sant Jordi. So the start is so critical. Remember, 3 finals left for these guys. This is final number 2.
I think the start is important, but I think getting through the first corner is just as important.
Yeah, how many riders have failed to do that? We'll have to add that up later on. How many riders actually went down here at turn 1
I didn't bring
tonight?
a calculator.
No, we're going to need one.
Right.
We are going to need one because my mathematics aren't good enough. Here we go again then. And remember, unlike the heat races where you were having different riders, this is all the same 8 riders now in all of these finals. And don't forget, in the last final, extra points are given out. So that's something to bear in mind later as well. Even guys like this man, Marc Marquez, could have strong starts in the first 3. But if he goes down in the 4th final, Scotty, of course, 16 points are given out in that one. So it could change round again. It
opens the door for somebody else.
Yeah.
So consistency is very important here in the Superprestigio in Barcelona.
Here we go then.
17-inch wheels and tires. They're Michelin rain tires on the front and rear. Looks like they can groove them up a little bit, I believe, on the rears. Looks like they leave the front alone. The goggles are going on right now. You can see some of the fans are ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and you can switch these tires around as well, just as you can do with the Dunlops in the States. It's the same sort of effect. Somebody was asking me earlier on whether you can still do that with the Michelins. Well,
yes.
You certainly can. You certainly can.
And Brad Baker said he doesn't want to come out here with a fresh edge, but just a barely scuffed-in edge is what he wants later on for tonight. So they've got about 4 scuffs sitting there ready for him to go.
Last year, riders were selling tires to each other ahead of the Super Final.
Gate drops. Here we go. Final number 2, Superprestigio class.
Down into 1. Are they going to get through cleanly this time?
Joan
Mir has the advantage, but he's run wide. Brilliant stuff. Muscles out, Joan Mir. And now Elias is up the inside. It's almost 3 abreast into 3 and 4. Elias gets second. Oh, and through now goes Simeon as well, by the looks of things. He's gone past Joan Mir. He's pushed out wide. Poor old Joan Mir is in the lead at the start. Oh, now he's in the barrier. And he's kept it going. He's kept it upright.
And Alex Marquez is in last again.
Wow, that is a poor start for Marquez. So even Mir hitting the barrier did not fall behind Alex Marquez. His chances are slipping away, just as they did here last year, but at least he's in the finals this year. Marc Marquez with the advantage. Elias is second, then it's Xavier Simeon, who muscled past Carduz. Vierge is 5th, poor old Joan Mir is 6th, then it's Strotter, and then, as you say, Alex Marquez.
Marc Marquez's lap, 1:2.055, the fastest we've seen since racing started here tonight. So he is on the gas. His bike is working. He likes it when it's a little bit slicker. He's got throttle control like some of the other riders do not.
Wow, this is making it look so easy. I wonder how he would fare up against some of the best riders over in the States. I think he'd go rather well. He was asked about that in the press conference here last night. He said, I probably wouldn't do a full mile because Honda wouldn't allow me to with my contract. But he's certainly keen to do some of the shorter tracks. Who knows, maybe when he hangs up the leathers in MotoGP, that might be a bit of a secondary career in the future. Who knows for Marc Marquez. But as he leads through then, white flag goes out from Kevin Clark. So calm, 1.4 second advantage. What's happening further back? Comfortable second for Elias, there he is. Comfortable third as well for Simeon.
Checkered flag coming out, there's Marc Marquez. The crowd is on their feet here in Barcelona. Another win for Marc Marquez. Tony Elias with the 1:2.089. Is showing that his times are competitive with Marc Marquez. Javier Simeon will finish 3rd, Ricky Carduz 4th. Looks like Javi Verge will get the 5th spot.
And what's this going to do for the points? There you go then. Marquez from Elias, and then 10 points. So already then, the rider in third has only half the points of Marc Marquez, who is leading. Here's a replay of the start. Tranmere with the Leopard leathers is in the lead, but runs wide. Not for the first time this evening, somebody running wide, and then finds himself up against the barriers as well out of turn 2, and it was Marquez. Comfortable lead for Marquez. That's 2 out of 2 in the finals so far.
And now we shift our attention back to the open class. It's final number 1 for the open class, so this is where they start earning points. All the points they had earlier, those are all gone. It's even Steven for all these riders. The fast qualifier earlier today is the number 4, Thomas Charrer. He's on a TM motorcycle, and I talked to Brad Baker about that. It's a specialty built motorcycle for supermoto, and that's why it's handling so well in the corners, because it's made to turn better than some of these other bikes that are made to go fast and jump, because they're DTX style motorcycles, 450s, and they're just about ready to start our first main event, our first final for the open class. Brad the Bullet Baker hasn't been beat yet today.
Yeah, and he won this class last year with 2 wins and a 4th place. He had his 4th in the first heat, then a couple of wins, and it was 31 points in total to win the class. Remember, there are different podiums at the end of the night. 4 podiums, 1 for the juniors, 1 for the open class, 1 for Superprestigio, and then, of course, the super final category podium as well.
Keep your eyes on the 124. Oliver Brindley, he's been over to the States a couple times. He's a young English rider coming fresh off an injury, broke his left heel, did not even fall off the motorcycle, had some screws put in it. He started feeling it again last night, feels really, really strong, and he looks good here today.
Yeah, and he broke it while he was battling away with Nico Tirol at one of the Spanish dirt track events in Madrid earlier on this year. Also, quick shout out to Aidan Collins as well, the other British rider. He's not able to attend this year. We have had Adam Birtwistle here, but he's out of action after a collision earlier on in their last chance qualifier race. Here we go then. This is the first of only 3 finals, don't forget, for the open class. 4 for Superprestigio, but only 3 for open. But the same situation, they will be given more points in their 3rd final. At the moment, 10 for the win, 8 for 2nd. Here we go.
Bullet Brad Baker on the very inside of the racetrack. This is an 8-lap final. It looks like the 4 is going to lead him in the first corner. Can he slow down? Absolutely not. The Bullet Brad Baker is going to lead him off of turn number 2. For Carduce right there on the inside.
Oh, there's contact in the midfield. 2 of them down. One of them went. Another one collected him. Yellow flags flying. There's the yellow flag in the background. Baker with the advantage. He must be having a laugh with the number of times he's managed to dive past at turn 1, but it's Ferran Sastre, one of them who's down. The man who's just red flag. There you go. Well, Sastre, who's just gone through that last chance qualifier, he's down, and Guillermo Cano, 179, is the other one. So 2 Spaniards are down. Now here's a replay, Scotty. Watching the midfield.
Oh,
here it is.
It's a high side right there, and you definitely don't want that to happen. The 215 goes down. He had nowhere to go. Here's a look back from the onboard camera. The one rider got in underneath the other rider, and the worst case scenario, you hit that back tire, and it goes, they call a high side. You go up and over the handlebars, and you hit that ground hard, and you slide all the way up to the air fence, and one of those other riders had absolutely nowhere else to go.
Well, it was Guillermo Cano, first of all, who clipped another rider, and incidentally, he is a rookie here this year, and he was in the Masters class of the Spanish National Championship this year. He won it. That's for riders who are aged over 35. So he went down, and as you say, Sastre was caught out, and he went down on the outside. He literally had nowhere to go. Oh, look at the damage to the helmet, too.
Sastre is looking for his motorcycle. He's trying to get back in here. Here's another look at it.
Here we go. So he clips him, and then it's Sastre who gets caught out on the outside.
Sastre actually hit the rider.
And this is a replay at the front of the field. Look at this. Baker there, almost when he was just about pushed out wide.
Carduce came in there very hot. That was going to be a very exciting race because Baker had the lead. Carduce was looking for a way through. And there's Sastre. He's trying to make his way back. I don't know if he's going to make the restart or not.
Well, they seem to be waiting for him. Let's hope he can. Certainly not the first time we've seen a rider having to walk back and then making a restart this evening, so I hope he can.
I think I would be smarter if I was a rider. I'd walk this way instead of having to walk all the way underneath the arena to go all the way around.
It is strange. It's almost as though they feel obliged to accompany their bike back round the paddock.
I would trust my mechanic with the bike. I would just walk right back over there to the starting gate, get back on board.
Got to go all the way around the other side of the arena now. Here's the starting list, and he is shown, of course, there, and we'll just wait for a few moments now as we decide. Well, not we don't decide, of course. The organisers decide on the rider whether he can make the restart.
And the track appears to be okay. We're going to step off here for just a second.
This is Omori. We were seeing him earlier on. He had an incident and managed to restart We're about to welcome into the commentary box here alongside Scotty and I, Steve English, who have been commentating on the Superbike World Championship with this year. He's been watching proceedings down in the paddock to see what's going on. I'm very keen to know whether people have been sticking on some tyre warmers, Steve. I don't know whether you've managed to see that, but great to have you with us here in the booth, Steve. It's been a great year for us over in World Superbike. Pleasure to work alongside you. Now, what have you been seeing? You're a very sneaky journalist, Mr. English. You've had a year with Motorcycle News. You must have some fantastic facts for us.
You'd think that, Greg, but the Superprestigio and flat track in general is just a good opportunity for all of us in World Superbikes or MotoGP to come down and just enjoy watching the bikes. But a couple of things that have stood out for me is, I'm sure, as you and Scotty were talking about, lots of crashes so far today. And it looks like a lot of that comes down to just the track being a little bit greasy for everyone. And I was talking to Brad Baker about it yesterday, and he was saying that basically the track surface here is a lot higher compared to what it was in the previous year, so a lot more dirt on the surface, but it's not actually wet dirt the whole way through. So as the track starts to get a groove, basically everyone's just going deeper and deeper into drier and drier surface. So basically you're just losing a lot of the grip. But it's been an interesting night's racing so far. I think one of the key things for me has been just to see how everyone's been getting out of the gates, but also what lane they're actually selecting. And you've seen Marc Marquez go for the outside lanes and just try and swoop through people into turn one. But you can see here Brad Baker on the number 6 bike, Ferran Cardus on the 77, two of the favourites, both taking that inside line, which is, for most of the dirt trackers, the favourite line as well, just to take the short run through to the first corner.
And I'm amazed to see that you're not actually covered in dust. It was actually the first Superprestigio we had here, and we luckily had some rainfall towards the end of the event, and it brought some extra humidity into the arena, but it was so dusty that year. That was January 2014. Here we go then. This is a restart now then for this first final for the open category. Who will get the whole shot? Who will get the run down into turn 1? Sastre restarting, of course. It's an 8-lap encounter, and Baker is on the inside line, and has he got it stopped? Yes, he has. He's the maestro. He's in the lead.
Yeah, and you can see Cardus into turn 1 as well, just really aggressive, just pushing his way through and getting into second, but it crashed down in turn 2 again, turn 3 again.
And I fear, Steve, that it's Sastre yet again with his green leathers. It is. And Guillermo Cano. It's the same two riders and exactly the same part of track. That is remarkable. Ferran Cardus then is right up behind Baker. We are waiting to see whether they stop this one. We're on board with Brad Baker, bottom right of your screen. No, they're not stopping it because those two have got going, and in fact they're dropping a lap down now. So poor old Cano and indeed Sastre at the back of the field, having collided again at the very same corner. Baker leads, Cardus is second, then it's Bilo in third.
Yeah, and of course in this race, Greg, it's not a case of having to win it. These two guys, if they're able to get to the front and stay there, that puts them into the finals. But it's been interesting looking at Cardus this weekend just to see how he's actually able to adapt to the racing as well. We know how quick he is on the dirt, Spanish champion, but just taking it on to go up against the likes of Baker here as well, it really does just add that extra challenge for him as well. But he's actually acquitted himself very well in this. You can see Baker now 3 laps to go, comfortably out in front, and just need to wait and see exactly what's going to happen behind that. But you can see Cardus now under a lot of pressure in that fight for second as well.
Very, very tight. Just 2 laps to go here in the Palau Sant Jordi. We're watching Baker on the onboard, but it just doesn't look as though Ferran Cardus is doing enough at the moment. It's very tight indeed. Bilo, though, has gone up into second place. What has happened to Cardus as they come around towards the finish?
Yeah, Cardus down into fourth now as well. But we saw Bilo really aggressive in his last race as well, so it'll be interesting to see just how he got through to second.
Yeah, we'll get a replay of that in a minute. That could be a real major loss of points actually there for Ferran Cardus. He's dropped behind Thomas Scherer as well. Here's the confirmation then. Cardus just under 4 seconds behind. And incidentally, by the way, a quick shout out to Frank Serra as well, who's not riding this year due to some criteria that the organisers were looking for, but he's just as quick, I'm informed, reliably as Ferran Cardus. So hopefully Frank Serra will be back next year, and he went very hard and pushed him so hard in the Spanish Championship this year. There's the incident then down at turn 1. Excuse me, turns 3 and 4. That's Sastre and Cano for the second time in the space of about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and you've seen it there again, Greg, just how difficult it is for these guys just with a short race and just having to try and be aggressive and get through to the front. But Baker did what you expect from him, just gets through, takes the whole shot, and just keeps opening that lead. Another commanding performance by him. But it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with Ferran now in his next race, just in the runoff, just to get through to the open class final.
Maybe they grooved him up a little bit.
Well, this is it. Like, of course, in dirt track, you see a lot of guys go out with what's a wet tire.
Right.
Just so maybe you need to just find that wet weather setup for your shoes as well.
Maybe they could groove their soles on their shoes and get some extra traction. I don't know.
Go for a cut slick option down there. Not illegal in a race like this.
Right. So it looks like they're showing the challenge race, which will be coming up next, I believe. So that was it for our track maintenance. Up next is the Super Prestigio. This is the challenge race. These are riders that have finished 9th through 16th that did not qualify for the main event.
Scotty, just when you were down just checking on the track, I was saying to Greg that usually in a short track race like this, in the AMA, you'll see guys decide to take that inside lane just to get down to the first corner quickly. Why do you think we've seen Marquez go for those outside lanes?
I really am not sure. Unless he feels like he wants to have the advantage and chop everybody off and turn left sooner, he feels he can get the whole shot and shut it down and get to the lowest part of the lane. I'm not sure. I would like to be further inside. We saw Brad Baker go all the way to the inside. Earlier in the night, they were picking the third gate, seemed to be the favorite one. Things are changing. I'd like to hear what his opinion is. I'm sure he won't tell us because it's his secret, but it worked for him last time. This is the challenge race. Again, riders that did not qualify for the final, but they did qualify in the 9th through 16th position. Here they go, and they're off in the first corner. Ribalta on the high side, the 21 on the inside. 21 is Fabio Di Gianantonio. He's got company coming around the outside. 42, Marcos Ramirez, and he goes all the way around like he was going to do a 360.
Yeah, and you've seen Digio just get to the front, but Ruben Schaus, just as aggressive as we ever saw him when he was in World Superbikes as well.
The 1-1-1 coming to the front.
You can see down into the yellows as well, down at turn 3, so everyone just happened to be a little bit within themselves. You can see Digio just trying to get the run there on the 21 bike.
Go ahead.
But you can see it's still Ruben Schaus out in front with Ramirez in second. Got 6 to go now.
I'm very surprised Ribalta's not in our final, but I expected him to be running up front. He's running second in this one, right behind that Persang motorcycle, number 111. That's a very unique, beautiful motorcycle.
Yeah, just down in the paddock, we're looking at it earlier on. So different compared to everyone else's bikes. But you can see Schaus just getting to the front, and it's so difficult to pass here as well. What would be the main secret, Scotty, just trying to get to the front?
Well, we saw a couple of riders had to get real aggressive, had to go in there and maybe use a little elbow grease and slide into the hole. Right now, the 111's running a pretty solid race. He got a little bit wide right there in that last corner. The 15's getting tired of following, but he's looking like he's going to make a move. You can't go around the outside, so you got to go in there and kind of hope he goes a little bit wide. He should stick it in there. Well, he had a chance, but he made a little mistake. So it looks like Donnie Ribalta trying to make it happen. He's trying to stay right on the back tire of the 111 Ruben Zaus and see if he can force him into a mistake.
Yeah, and you can see there as well, just the difference in style as well, Scotty. Just you look at Joust, still looking like a road racer, but you can see Rivera just there in second, looking a lot more like a flat tracker, the high elbow style and different things like that. What's the main difference that high elbow gives you?
It gives you leverage. When you can throw it in the corner, you actually can muscle the front end. So you put that elbow up and your left elbow's down, you can work the front tire, you can work the handlebars going in the corners, scrub speed if you need to by turning it left. Typically they turn it right. Here's the results of our Super Prestigio Challenge race. Ruben Zaus on the Persang takes the win. Danny Ribalta will get second, and the scoring just went away. Albert Arenas will get third. Fabio Di Gianantonio will get fourth. And one of the riders had problems. Watch the 42 go all the way around right there. It was his race, and he threw it away in that turn number 3 off the start.
I'll tell you what, Scotty, you've done an impressive job here because everyone's been struggling with Digia's name through the season. It usually took a lot of the MotoGP commentators 3 or 4 rounds. You've managed to get it in 3 or 4 hours now today.
Hey, I'm learning quick. I went to Oklahoma's best schools, but I've never seen names like this before. There's coming up. There's the point standings for the Super Prestigio class. We have our third final already coming up for the Super Prestigio class. Can Marquez be beat?
Well, I'll tell you what, actually, I've been really impressed by Tony Elias. This is a guy that yesterday said that basically only started flat tracking in the last couple of days, and he's just been able to jump straight into it. And there was one of the heats earlier on where he just really hunted down Marquez, was able to get quite close to him, and that's been an impressive performance from the AMA rider, or from the Moto America rider as well. And it's interesting to see it. Look, we talked about it there about Marquez taking that outside gate, but probably the reason for that is against these riders, he's got so much more experience, he can be aggressive, but once we get into the grand final later on, maybe up against the likes of Carduce or Baker, he's not going to be able to be as aggressive.
Probably not going to be able to shut the door on those riders. Or he doesn't, unless he gets one heck of a start and gets the drive and then chops it down to the very inside of the racetrack. So we'll have to see. That's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds in the super final. First, we got to get through these finals. This is the third final for the Super Prestigio class. Right now, it's Marc Marquez, the man to beat. This time, he chooses all the way on the inside. So maybe it doesn't matter to him. Maybe he's just trying things out now. He can do that because he's got 20 points.
Yeah.
Right? So why not? The bikes come to life. Tony Elias way out there in the 7th gate. That's where Mark started in the last one. So we'll see how Tony Elias does. Maybe he can get a good start and go all the way to the inside, or chop the throttle off and tuck inside.
You can see there Carduce just taking a bit of time just to get himself started as well. But everyone's in the gate.
Ricky Carduce on the 88, not to be confused with Ferran. Carduce is in the other class on the 77. Picking this up pretty good. Here we go. Superprestigio, final number 3. It is 8 laps the distance. Points available for every position. Marc Marquez on the inside right, 97. Has Javi Verge on the outside, our left side of the screen.
Yeah, Verge on the 97. Very impressive so far today as well.
Alex Marquez struggling on the other hand, and Elias gets a terrible start, and it's Marc Marquez once again. And he goes from the inside. Doesn't matter where he starts. He leads it off for turn number 2 once again. Marc Marquez, your leader.
Yeah, and you can see Juan Mir just a bit of a dust up there in the battle for second as well, but it's Schroeder taking second as well. Schroeder being very impressive as well. Always a rider that's been able to adapt well to different conditions, whether it was in 125s or at different Grand Prix levels as well. But you can see into turn 3 as well. Juan Mir just gets pushed all the way outside as well.
Rubbin's racing deep in the field. Tony Elias stuck back in the 5th spot, trying to make up some time. He's stuck right now behind the 97. It's Marc Marquez on cruise control out front. Last time by was a 1:2.115 fastest on the track.
And this is going to be a very important race. Tony Elias down in 5th, but currently 2nd in the standings. So we could see a bit of a shake-up now in the Superprestigio standings after this round.
Absolutely, halfway through. That means 4 down, 4 to go. Marc Marquez pulling away. Last time by, actually so far his best lap's 1:2.115. Second is Marcel Schroeder on the number 23 Suzuki. Still, Tony Elias stuck back and forth. It's very hard to pass.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again here at the Superprestigio. Such a short track. It's very difficult just to get that run down the chute into either of the corners.
2 laps to go. Our American flagman shows he'll stretch out the white and the green flag and show them kind of how much distance there is between the riders. He signals all of our riders all season long. White flag out for Marc Marquez.
And you can see Marquez now just taking a look up to the screen as well, just to see how the proceedings are. He's comfortable out there.
He knows he is way out front. He can feel it. Checkered flag out, 3 for 3 here in our finals for Marc Marquez. Second, Marcel Schroeder. Javier Simeon will get 3rd. Oh, Tony Elias slips down to 5th right there.
And that's a really impressive performance there for Mir to get himself back up to 4th. We talk about how difficult it is to overtake here, but he went from 8th back up to 4th in that
Marc
race.
Marquez with a 10-point advantage over Tony Elias, who finished 5th, but still is 20 points. Javier Simeon now in the 3rd spot with 15 points. So he's got half the points that our 5-time world champion right there, 93, Marc Marquez has.
And you can see into turn 1 and 2 as well there. You can see Mir and Schroeder getting quite close to one another. And then a couple of laps later, we saw Mir fall all the way down to the back, but still recover well to get back to the front. You can see Marc just making a change there to possibly to the electronic side. I've seen a lot about that.
That was interesting, making a little move on the handlebar. Up next will be our open final number 2, the Bullet Brad Baker, who took the win. He has 10. Second, Bayo has 8. Thomas Charrier has 6. Ferran Carduce back there in 4th. He has to have a good main event here to keep his hopes up.
Yeah, and this is where it's going to come down to now as well. And it's been interesting just to see how each of these riders has been taking it on for one another. Ollie Brindley's actually been quite impressive as well, the British rider. But you can see Baker now all the way on the outside in this starting gate, alongside Carduce in the 7 and 8 lanes.
So maybe they're just testing each different gate. He saw it work for Marquez earlier. He tried the inside last time, so they're trying to figure out which is best. You know, when they go head-to-head in that super final, which is coming up in just a little bit. I think there's just 5 races left. This is the open final number 2. There are only 3 finals in the open class. Oh,
one of the gates gets blocked as well.
That's the 215. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It's Ferran Cesarte. Where's Baker at? Baker stuck in 4th. The red flag is out.
Yeah, so after the gate got locked as well, obviously just a decision there just to put out the reds.
I don't think I've seen that before. I guess that in the States, if somebody jumps to start, the red flag comes out, we restart them, and whoever jumped to start goes to the back. So maybe that's what's going on here. Also got a message from Chris Carr earlier, told me to tell you hello, and he misses you, and he said thanks for the shout out. So the 7-time champ Chris Carr listening in at home or wherever he is. I know he's unavailable to make it here.
And obviously as well, just while I'm talking to you as well, Scotty, obviously Chris Carr, one of the greatest flat trackers we've ever seen, and also the king of the TT at Peoria.
Well,
but lots of changes for next year as well in flat track.
They call him the Prince of Peoria because he was the original Prince. He's won more in a row until now. King Henry Wiles has won more in a row than Chris Carr. But there is a lot of changes, and Chris Carr has a new job with AMA Flat Track, or American Flat Track Series, and he is the new CCO of American Flat Track. That means he's going to be in charge of a lot of the race day operations. So he is actually coming out of the broadcast booth. They're going to be making some changes, not only in the broadcast booth, but in the racing. It's going to be AFT singles, single-cylinder motorcycles, racing against each other. We have Fernand Cardus coming over. We have Oliver Brindley coming over to race in that class. And if you're not riding a single, you're going to be riding a twin in the AFT Twins class. So there'll be 2 classes, very distinct, at every racetrack we go to. To start off, March the 16th, the Daytona TT, first time ever. We're going to be inside the tri-oval there at Daytona International Speedway. I can't wait to hear a twin motorcycle hitting a jump and grabbing a handful of throttle down a long straightaway, echoing inside the world's biggest stadium, the Daytona International Speedway. I can't wait to go. I mean, I'm ready to go right now, and it seems like the season just ended, but I'm ready for Daytona already.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that as well. The first time I ever actually went to a flat track race was actually at Daytona during the Speed Week of 2012.
Okay.
And I'm excited now to see what it's going to be like as a TT race as well, and obviously Bike Week, massive week in the US, and it's going to be exciting that's going to be one of the big showcases of the week as well. Huge event. Of course, Bike Week is huge in Daytona, and then also in August we're going to have 2 races at Sturgis Bike Week, Sturgis, South Dakota, one at the Buffalo Chip, and then one at Rapid City Speedway in Rapid City, South Dakota. So we're lining them up back again for final number 2 of the open class. The Bullet Brad Baker on the outside. We'll see if he can get a good start. It looks like Fernand Cardus not scared of him. He's gone in there and tried the inside line a couple of times on the Bullet Brad Baker, and they're lining up handlebar to handlebar on the outside. The 4 right there, that was our fast qualifier earlier today. Tomas Charest. Did I get that right? I'm struggling with that one a little bit. Oh, well, I'm not going to lie. My pronunciation of anything that isn't English or American is a bit of a challenge for me.
All right,
but
so I don't feel like the only one. Here we go. Restart. Long gate. It finally drops. The 4 leads him in the first corner. Now 215, who got stuck in the gate but cannot get the bike slowed down, goes wide. Baker deep in the field, back and forth. Here's the 17 out front. It's Gerard Ballo out front now. 66 comes into second.
We saw last year here as well, Scotty, how difficult it was for even the likes of Baker and Meese to get through the field once they made a bad start and were struggling. You can see it's Cardus just getting undertaken there as well by Meese, by Baker, just getting down the inside. Up into 4th now for Baker. But this has got the potential now to really change the standards in this class.
He's going to mix it up, that's for sure, because Baker only had a 2-point advantage going into this one. So now he's back there in the 4th spot. They're bunching up right in front of him, which is good because he's catching them, but he's having trouble getting past them. He's only passed 1 rider so far. 5 laps to go here in the open final number 2.
Yeah, and you can see the onboard as well for Baker, just trying to get down the inside as well now. But
there he comes.
Able to make the move. Looks like he's able to make it stick. We should see Baker into 3rd now as well.
Which is good, because every position, more points. The further up you finish, the more points you get.
Yeah, we've got Bayo out in front as well, and we've seen him really aggressive in these races as well. But now getting to the front and able to get himself into the right position. Baker gets up into 2nd now as well.
Which is very important, because he had a 2-point advantage.
The key thing is, we've talked about the differences at times between Baker and Cardus. Not much in terms of lap speed, but you can see Cardus not able to make the moves. He's still down in 5th.
That's hard. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to take advantage. If the rider in front of you slips a little wide, you've got to be able to stick a wheel in there, possibly move that guy out of your way. Last lap, here comes your winner, Gerard Bayo, coming off of turn number 4.
And you can see Baker able to really close down that gap as well, just in those final couple of laps. So another time where we've seen just how impressive Baker is at just being able to make that recovery.
That's the first time he's been beat tonight. So far he's perfect going into that one. Now he's got a second. So it's tied for the lead with Gerard Bello and Brad Baker both with 18 points. Carrier back in third. Lindgren in fourth, and Ferran Cardus way back in fifth in the points right now. Here's a look at the restart. Baker hung out to dry way on the left side. The 4 had it. Now the 215 went in there way too deep. Baker was almost in last coming off the second corner.
Yeah, what was interesting, when you look at how Marquez has been starting from those outside gates, he just drives straight into turn one. Baker, a little bit, obviously a different level of competition here compared to what Marquez is up against, but he has to stick to that outside line, just not able to really force the issue.
Here he is making the pass for second place. So you can see the rider slips a little wide. Baker just slides right in that hole. Just like I said, if that door opens up just a little bit, you have to take full advantage of it here, especially on a short track. Lining up for the final race in the junior class. This is our second final. The points are added just like they were in the last one. 10 to win, 8 for second. Here we go. Keep your eyes on the 31, the 51. They have been fast all day. 31, Max Sanchez. 51, Brian Urate. Did I say that right? I struggle with that one. Urate? Urate?
Or Uriarte, something like that, I think, yeah.
I like that.
Many thanks.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Did you have a nice siesta?
siesta?
That's what they do here, right? They take siestas between 2 and 4 p.m.
I think it's something I should start doing. And by the way, thank you very much, Steve, because I'm sorry we only had 2 headsets there. I thought we had 3, so we've had to be swapping around the headset. It was a great sign, by the way, from a guy in the crowd who said, Marc Marquez, I'll swap my brother for one of your crash helmets. Saw that just a few minutes ago, but this is the second final underway now then for the junior riders.
78 with the whole shot. He got the whole shot in the first one. He slips a little bit wide. Here comes the 51. This is deja vu. The 31 comes on through with them. 31 has to keep the 51 in his sights if he wants to win this championship.
Yeah, this is really tight indeed. It's Uriarte then now with the advantage. Sanchez is second, and don't forget Sanchez won the junior class of the Copperoni this year. They're right together again, and he needs these points. Remember, this is their last final. It all depends on points. Actually, if they swap round, they're going to be equal on points, so it'll be interesting to see how they sort that out. But in third position is Esteban, then it's Aguilar and Blai Trias. And incidentally, I saw some fans of Blai Trias behind the starting blocks egging him on here.
I think it would go to whoever wins the final race. So if they end up with a tie, whoever wins the final race will get the advantage. The 31 is right there on the leader. That's Max Sanchez, and he is right on the back tire of the 51 bike.
So basically then, whichever of these two wins this particular final will win the overall class for the juniors this year. Scotty, it's going to be rather interesting. And yes, hello Chris, by the way, back in the States. Love you too. Thank you very much. We're not going to get too romantic though, Scotty. 1 lap to go here.
It looked like the 51 looked over at the camera, but what I noticed earlier, some of them were looking up at the big screen, wanting to see how far their advantage was. 51's right there. Here comes the 31 of Sanchez. Last lap, last corner. Not going to be able to make the pass. 51, Brian Urate will take the win. Max Sanchez second. Great starts by the 78 both times. That is Joel Esteban with 2 perfect starts. Slips a little bit wide though. Ends up with the 3rd spot. So we'll see how the points are. It's 20, 16, and 12. So top 3, exact same order here in our junior final.
Well done. So that means Brian Uriarte wins the junior class here at the Superprestigio for 2016. Here's a replay of the start. Thankfully, all of the gates dropped properly this time. And incidentally, how unlucky is Sastre over in the open category? He's been caught up in 3 incidents this evening, and then a starting gate failing to drop as well, as we saw just a few moments ago. But clearly then for Uriarte, Sanchez tried to put him under pressure, but it seems as though the junior riders are finding it just as difficult to pass here as they are in the other categories. But we have to say, as you said earlier on, Scotty, they've been so clean so far tonight. Hardly any incidents. They really are showing these guys how to do it, aren't they?
Wow, absolutely. The second place time on the Sanchez bike was at 1:2.663. He was actually faster than leader, but just could not quite get up there and catch up to him. So that's what happens when you get behind off the start, especially on a short track. So water trucks out there making a few laps right now. Looks like they're just probably going to water the straightaways just like they did a little bit ago. It should be coming up with our second foot race. I thought you were in this one.
Well, I was going to, but I'm not really wearing the appropriate footwear here. I have got professional footwear back at home, but I've forgotten them, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to stay up here in the box with you.
What?
But I really do think Steve English could have gone down there and taken part, because he's such a keen runner.
He's got his running shorts on.
But he's always
chilly
got
outside,
and Scotty,
he's wearing shorts and no hair.
Anyone in the MotoGP or GP or World Superbike paddocks knows that Steve English is always in shorts. He was even in shorts in Rufea the other day when we were at 4 degrees Celsius. He's a lunatic.
I could see my breath at Rufea. It was cold.
Indeed.
This guy was wearing shorts.
Here we go then. Here's the starting list for Final 4. Simeon Strotter, Elias Mir, 2 Marquez brothers, Ricky Cardus, and Xavi Vierge. This is going to be interesting.
Laps.
Yeah, 14 laps and increased points. Remember, 16 points now for the win.
The bikes are coming to life down there at the starting gate. Looks like Marc Marquez on the very inside, right beside Ricky Carduce. There's the 23. There is Alex Marquez. There is Tony Elias on the 24 bike. He's going to have to get up there and get a win to gain some points. He wants. I don't think he can win this one, can he? He's 10 points behind, I believe. If Marc has a terrible race, Elias can win it.
Yeah, of course. And don't forget, obviously, they only need top 4. They don't necessarily need to be at the top of the leaderboard.
You know how a racer is. You want to win every race.
Course.
So you want to get up there and get as many points as possible.
It's interesting, as we've been pointing out the starting positions, myself and you, Scotty, and Steve in the commentary tonight, all the different positions for Marquez. He's now got on the pole on the left.
On the right. Started third in the first couple of races.
Yeah.
All over the place. Here we go. Superprestigio class, final race number 4. 14 laps the distance.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. When will the gates drop? It's such a long haul.
Wow.
Come on, let's go. Here we go. Finally, 14 laps then underway. Down into one, and Marquez is boxed in behind Strotter. Look at Alex Marquez. All the way around the outside. Somebody's down. In at the
97
middle.
slips down. He's up. He's all right.
Xavi
Marquez
more down.
Both of them.
It's chaos.
Down.
There'll have to be a red flag.
Both Marquezes are down.
Wow.
Somebody else went down before him. I believe that
Red flag. Red flag, obviously. It was Xavi Vierge who went down at turn 1, but what on earth happened there?
Ricky Carduce goes down, going into turn number 3. Marc Marquez and others had nowhere to go, and they end up in the air fence out there up against the barrier. So a good move. Marc Marquez trying to shake things off. Now he's looking at his left glove. That's what goes down. Here's a look at the replay. Marc gets pinched out there behind the third spot. Another rider goes down the first corner. They go into turn number 3. This is where it all begins. The 88 goes down. He collects the rider in front of him. But that was actually Alex Marquez that goes down in front. Marc has nowhere to go. He gets up and collects the front tire into the air fence.
Yeah, Carduce clipped Alex Marquez. Marc Marquez was caught out on the outside, and one of the other riders almost launched over the top. It was Simeon. Thanks, Steve. Almost flipped over the top of the barrier there, and it was Xavi Vierge who actually hit Marquez at the first corner and went down. Thankfully, he was out of all the drama. Is Marquez okay? He's just checking his left hand.
I think he's trying to shake it off a little bit, try to figure out what's going on there. They are checking out the, I believe that's the 88 of Ricky Carduce as he's getting walked back there behind the starting gate. Actually, that's where the paramedics are stationed. There's one station over there. So Carduce goes down, looks like possibly dislocated. Shoulder injury possibly. Looks like he's holding it, trying to hold it stable.
He does not good at all, does he? Certainly left wrist or arm, shoulder related for Ricky Carduce, and it looks as though we have lost Ricky Carduce. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks as though we've lost him and his Suzuki from the Superprestigio of 2016. At least he's walking away, but clearly in some pain here. Here is another view of Marc Marquez, and I'm sure he's hurt his left hand as well, but he won't be telling anybody. He'll be hoping this hasn't been spotted. It's ironic, really, because in MotoGP next year, the riders will be obliged to declare any injury they've sustained away from the Grand Prix racing tracks. We had a few incidents this year when that was questioned, but it looks as though Marc Marquez may have suffered a bit of a hit there to his left hand. Well, I had a message a minute ago from Dennis Neuer, Scotty, saying, I've never seen so many crashes in the Palau. I'll second that, Dennis. It's chaos tonight. Here's the first corner. What's Xavi Vierge? He's on the blue leathers on the right. He clips Marquez. There's the touch. 97 down. Well held by Marc Marquez. Now then, Carduce 88 on the right. He's going to get into Alex Marquez. They're now down as we watch the leader, Strotter, unawares of what's going on behind. So watch again. Carduce down. Hits Alex Marquez. Marc Marquez and Simeon. Nowhere to go, into the fence, up into the air goes Xavier Simeon, lands on his back. That could have been very, very nasty indeed. And it's actually Carduce who really triggered that one, it has to be said, who actually is taken away, and poor old Ricky Carduce. Here we go again then, we will get a restart. Carduce's name is being shown, but I would, unfortunately, would be very surprised if he actually starts this one. 6 Spaniards, 1 German, of course, of Strotter, and the Belgian is Simeon. A bit of a shaken up Marc Marquez there, I think it's fair to say. And how is this going to affect things now then, Scotty, as we go down into those first corners? Again, he's got to put it behind him. We're focusing on the left hand, of course. Good work by our cameraman here, because he's just hit that left hand. Look, he's still checking that left hand, and the knuckle of the second finger, by the looks of things.
Well, the good thing is you only use the clutch one time. That's getting out of the starting gate. Then he can focus on just hanging onto that grip. So hopefully it's good enough to get him through this race, and then the super final, which is coming up in just a little bit.
No, I'm just counting across. I'm pretty sure there's 7.
So Ricky Carduce is a scratch, probably.
Yeah, shame for him. Big shame for him. Sorry, you go.
Something else new. I just noticed that rider is wearing full leathers. Next year on American Flat Track, every rider will be required to run their full leather suit.
Okay, so a change there then. And do they use the airbag suits over in the States like they do in
Not yet.
Europe?
We were talking about maybe implementing those fairly soon.
Okay, good to hear. So some amazing technology now brought across from Alpine Stars and Dainese. The airbags activating due to the movement in the system already inflated when the rider hits the ground.
What I like about the leathers at every race, they look the same everywhere we go. When they wear their motocross gear, they can wear different colors, and sometimes they're harder to spot. So it will kind of give the recognition to the rider, so it's easier for our fans to keep track of where their favorite rider is.
Yeah, and that's what is so great actually about bikes in general compared with car racing, isn't it? And I'm a big car racing fan as well, but it's so easy to identify the riders in motorcycle racing. Here we go again then, minus Ricky Cardus, I'm afraid. This is Final Four. Remember, increased number of laps.
Here we go.
Increased number of points. Watch the gates. Down and away. Marquez into the lead again. Schrotter side by side with Janmir, but it's a clear start for Marc Marquez. Now this is where it all went wrong last time. No such problems into turn 3 on this occasion. Clear lead for Marc Marquez.
Elias takes that third spot away. He's moving up to the front. The 36 has been getting great starts every day, or every race, but now he's going backwards as Alex Marquez takes over the 4th spot.
That was tight in the background. It looked like Janmir almost up against the fence, but look how tight they are now for 2nd and 3rd as he threw Schrotter and Elias side by side. Elias just keeping him at bay, and remember, there's increased laps this time, still 11 to go.
Marc Marquez pulling away in this one. Tony Elias made his way up to 2nd. Can he track down the leader? He was doing so earlier, one of the earlier main events. The 36 comes up there, takes that 4th spot away from Alex Marquez. That is Janmir.
And a big moment there for Elias coming out of turn 4. He's lost momentum now, and he's got them right up behind him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them together, battling for 2nd. Massive lead for Marquez, 1.3 seconds. Still though, don't forget, 10 laps to go. Elias is 2nd. Schrotter is right up behind him. There they are in the background. Janmir is 4th. Alex Marquez is 5th. And with Cardus out of action, it might be a last gasp opportunity for Alex Marquez, but he'll have to progress more than this. Vieja is 7th. And the last remaining runner. Still 8 to go here.
The distance between 1st and 2nd, 1.5 seconds. I don't think that's enough time for Tony Elias to catch up to the 5-time champ. The 93 Marc Marquez looking very smooth. His left hand not bothering right now. He's running exactly on the very bottom of the racetrack, doing exactly what he needs to do to pick up another victory here in Barcelona.
Something Tom and Steve are just pointing out to us here in the box that we've been talking about as the proceedings go on. The hotter these tyres are getting, the less grip they have available, and this is why Brad Baker in particular has been talking about getting more water down on the surface, Scotty.
He said they get slicker and slicker the hotter they get. He said, uh-oh, Mark reaches down and makes an adjustment on his handlebar. We saw him do that when he took the checkered flag earlier. Now he's doing it in the middle of a race.
Well, that might be, as Steve pointed out earlier on, something to do with the ECU. He's got very advanced electronics on this machine, and he's got lots of components in from HRC in terms of suspensions as well. This is a very, very advanced motorcycle. Some of the other riders bringing in their own motorcycles from home. That thing at the front there is flying, and it's a rather expensive piece of kit. Elias is still 2nd.
Even with Marc Marquez doing that, he increased his lead now to 1.7 seconds. 2 laps to go. It's Marc Marquez, 93, in front of 24. Tony Elias. Marcel Schrotter right there in the 3rd spot.
That was a bit like the sort of thing you see in Formula 1 car racing when they're making changes, isn't it, to their electronics and settings as they progress in Formula 1. But into the last lap we will go in just a few moments' time. This is the last lap now. He's looking back, and this is going to be an easy move through to the super final. Once again then for Marc Marquez, it will be 4 out of 4. Elias, Schrotter, Mir, Simeon and Alex Marquez complete the 6th. Then it's Xavi Vieja, but now the moment we need to wait for is the graphic, which will confirm which 4 riders have gone through into the super final. That, of course, confirms Marc Marquez as the Superprestigio champion in their category, and there's the cutoff.
Wow.
They're equal on points. Simeon and Mir equal on points, but Simeon there, based on results, goes through. So 3 different nationalities in the end, with Schrotter there as well.
Let's take a look at the replay. It is Marc Marquez on the inside, but I was impressed with the 36. Got excellent starts all night long, just could not get in there and close the door. Marquez will lead him up for turn 2. That'll be the last time anybody will see him. Battle is now for 2nd place. Tony Elias got up there in a hurry.
And was that Thunder running around on the inside there,
yeah.
Scotty? Tell us about Thunder. We don't know him outside the States.
Thunder Thunder does a lot of filming for American Flat Track. He's got some really cool, probably as expensive cameras as Marc Marquez's motorcycle. He's got one that balances itself. He runs around and he gets all of our footage for a lot of our social media posts and for our website, AmericanFlatTrack.com. So Thunder doing a great job out there. He thinks he's impersonating Jared Van de Kooi. He's got number 20 on his back, and that's Van de Kooi's number on the circuit. So he's doing his Van de Kooi impersonation.
Well, he's doing a fantastic job. Great stuff, Thunder. Now, Bailo and Baker here come into their final equal on points. This is the final now for the Open. This is going to be tight. Brad Baker, all he needs is a top 4, of course, and we will find out who is the Open class champion at the end of this one.
But he wants to win the Open the championship in this class too. He's chosen the inside line on the number 6 bike, so the bullet Brad Baker. And like you said, Brad was the first one to point out to me that those tires get slick, the more heat get in them, and when a track is grooved like this, there's more wheel spin, so the tires get hotter and hotter, they get slicker and slicker, so that's when you have to really control your throttle coming off the corners, especially with these back tires. And when you slide into the corners, if there's nothing there, you got your hands full.
Wow, so much to take into consideration. And interestingly, Baker there on the pole on the right-hand side of our screen, the left-hand side, of course, of the track as they make their way down to turns 1 and 2. And what's going to happen in this one? Watch out for Bailo, by the way. Don't forget, he's equal on points with Baker. Which number is he? I hear you ask. He's number 17. The Spanish rider, Gerard Bailo, on the Suzuki. Baker, of course, is on a Honda. And then it's an Indian next year in their new super team.
Oliver Brindley on the 124. He is an 18-year-old rider from England. He will be making his move to the United States. He was actually the first rider to put in his application for his license for the 2017 season, and he will be number 124 next year as we have a new numbering system going into place next year as well. I won't bore you with the details right now because we have a main event right here. This is final, number 3 for the Open class, and then the top 4 highest point finishers will go into the Superprestigio.
The 2015 FIM Speedway Nations World Cup champion is in this one as well. Fredrik Lindgren, watch out for him, the Swedish rider, number 66. Will there be some good luck this time, I wonder, for number 215? Ferran Sastre, who's been out of luck with 3 incidents he's been caught up with. That weren't his fault. He had a gate not dropping earlier on. Here he is, number 215 on the left-hand side. He's one of the Neues Camp riders, and he's been going very well this year in Spain. Here we go. This is the last final for the Open category. Increased points here up for grabs. Away they go. Baker. They stream down to 1.
Baker on the inside got a bad start, but he's still inside Fernand Carduz. Now here comes Brindley up. The inside goes from about 5th to 2nd. Now the 17 slides into 2nd. All this going on behind the number 4 bike.
Absolutely fantastic stuff for Oliver Brindley. 124, just had his 18th birthday. 5th in the British Flat Track Championship this year, and he is in the lead. Baker is 2nd, and 2 riders are down at turn 1.
Brindley goes down.
Well, dear, just as I was saying, great stuff for Brindley. I put the commentator's curse in him. Sorry, Oliver.
Here comes Brad. Just had to make a little bump right there, and he goes past the leader.
And they were just getting those bikes out of the way there at the bottom of our screen. We're on board with Brad Baker on the right. Look at Omori there. He's all over the place as well.
That was a classic short track pass. He went in there, barely touched him, enough to upset the suspension, upset the way the rider was going. The 4 set up a little bit. Baker goes up the inside. Remember, 4 was our fast qualifier earlier this afternoon during our time practice session.
Well, Baker's looking good to win the Open category at the moment because Gerard Bailo, who is equal on points with him, he's down in 4th position at the moment.
Carduz back in the 3rd spot right now. He's having a good run here. Not going to be enough, maybe be enough to get into our super final.
Yes, and remember, once they're in the super final, what's happened before is irrelevant. It's then just one race and may the best man win. So if he can get through, he'll still have a chance to win the overall category here, the overall event. But back at the front, Thomas Herrera, the Frenchman now, number 4, is right up behind. 5 times a Supermoto World Champion, including the last 3 years. He's right with Brad Baker.
Gregory, the halfway flags just came out. Also, I saw Brad Baker take a look over his shoulder. He wants to know who's behind him. Will he start riding smarter? Will he slow down? I don't think so. I think Brad's going to keep charging to the front.
I think you are right there in the sense that if it was Bailo who was right behind him, he'd be pushing even harder, knowing that if Bailo passed him, he wouldn't be winning the category. If Charret comes past, and he almost is, but not quite, if Charret comes past, at least Baker is still into the super final. Now look, oh, they're so tight, they're so tight. We're looking back in the meantime from Ferran Carduz. Oh, they're so together in the middle.
They're bumping and banging back here for 3rd spot. Now new rider takes over the 3rd place. That's number 17.
This is absolutely incredible stuff. Baker leads. Scherer is second. Bailot has moved up into third position. There he is in the background. There he is. They're so far behind, though. These two are in a league of their own, helped by the Titanic scrap raging for third, fourth and fifth. Bailot is third. Cardouse is fifth. Guillermo Cano, who's had some scrapes earlier on, is fifth. And it's Sastre. Brindley seventh after leading earlier. And Frederick Lindgren a long way down. And by the looks of things, is out. 2 to go.
2 laps to go. It's the bullet. Brad Baker out front. Can he hang on to the win? Thomas Charret right there in second, keeping Brad Baker honest here tonight. An impressive run. He's got him right there. He's on the back tire. Will he go in there and make a pass? I don't know if he wants to upset him right now. He's going to probably settle for second.
Yeah, and of course, Scotty, Baker cannot really afford an incident with these increased points up for grabs. He doesn't want to be falling all the way down the field, but Baker will do it. Baker has done it. Another win for Baker. He wins the open category for 2016. Scherer is second. Gerard Bailot, well done, into the super final. Guillermo Cano was fourth. Cardouse and Brindley were right together, but Brindley passed Sastre. That's why on the last lap, and Lindgren retired from the race with an incident earlier on. So we know Baker will go through. We know that Gerard Bailot will go through, and in any second now, here we go. Here's the overall standings. Baker and Bailot, Scherer's through, very well deserved, and then Ferran Cardouse, just by the skin of his teeth there, by 2 points, Scotty. It would have been unfair, really, for Ferran Cardouse not to go through, because he's been so quick over the last few weeks.
And Ferran Cardouse going over to the United States next year to run for the AFT Singles Championship. Here's a look at the restart. Gets a little crazy. Look at Brindley, comes up the inside, takes that second spot away, and moves up there. Oh, hits the back tire of the leader. Just about went for a high side. Now Brindley's a little bit deeper in the field. He gets a little bump, little bang, and takes the left side out from underneath him. Brindley's shot at a win right there goes out from underneath him.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate, wasn't it, to say the very least. Looking back now, some of the action we saw there. This is Gerard Bailot we're looking back at. Look at them. Look at the work going into this as they come down into oh, they almost touched there. That was Bailot almost making contact with the back of the bike we were on board with. I believe we are looking back from Ferran Cardouse at this point earlier in the race. And look, Cardouse is now being shuffled back. All of these guys ended up coming past him. That's Guillermo Cano we're looking at now. It was Cardouse we were on board with, and he dropped back. But Baker, well, that's impressive stuff. 3 out of 3 then in the finals. He's won all 3. One of the other riders who's not from Spain or America, of course, is Xavier Simeon. He's number 19, also a Moto2 rider from Brussels, 27 years now, and he's switching next year to the Tasca Racing team from QMMF. And he came through the World Superbike route because he was the Stock 600 champion of 2006 and then Stock 1000 in 2009. Like Danilo Petrucci, he went another way. He went up through the World Superbike support classes and then across to the MotoGP paddock. Plenty of discussion going on here, Scotty. I wonder what they're talking about.
They look pretty serious, too.
It did, didn't it?
My wild card going into tonight was Ferran Cardouse. He's had some bad starts, been stuck deep in traffic. How cool it would be for him to come out here and win this race.
He was the underdog, wasn't he? And we've been saying the last few weeks, and then when we got to the training sessions in Refair, and we've seen some of the training up in other places as well, nearby Barcelona, that he could be an underdog, but can he do it now? Can he do it? Here's your rundown then for the super final of 2016.
And the reason for this short break right now is the riders that just got off the racetrack can go back and make changes to their motorcycle. I'm sure most of them are switching back tires. They just have, they take it off and throw a different wheel and tire on so they have a fresh edge. You can see they're just now starting to push into the gate. Marc Marquez putting on his helmet. He's coming out first. It'll be very interesting to see where he starts on this gate. The local track announcer, Santi Gallardo, has this crowd rocking here tonight.
It's a Mexican wave in Barcelona, Spain. By the way, we are on Twitter. You might have just seen, I've just retweeted a picture Steve English sent a talk of us here in the box. If you want to see the view we have a look at that. Greg Haynes TV and Scotty Dubler on Twitter. Send us your predictions as well. You've not got long to do it, though. Hurry up, because we're going to be starting in just a few minutes' time. Who will win the Superprestigio of 2016? We've had 3 of them in the modern era. 2 of them won by Brad Baker, 1 of them by Marc Marquez. It must be noted that the one won by Marquez, Baker was not taking part in because he'd been injured in a heavy crash in the morning, which I remember watching out of the window with Chris Carr. So can Marquez make it 2 to equal Baker? Can Baker become the first to win 3? Can Marquez beat Baker head-to-head for the first time? And furthermore, could somebody else other than Marquez or Baker, notably the likes of Ferran Cardouse, become the first non-Marquez Baker winner? And they really have been the 2 big faces representing this event since it started in January 2014. And now there's all sorts of things being thrown around the arena.
Throwing everything. Those hands were actually on every seat.
Yeah.
They just threw every one of them just as they go by. Now they're making their way all the way down to the racetrack. I love that Marc Marquez section. One of them have a red Marc Marquez 93 flag.
Yeah, they've got a massive fan club, and
there
every
they go.
year.
Yep, there goes all the hands.
Oh, it's just absolutely brilliant to see. And now there's marshals hurriedly running down onto the track to pick up these bits of paper that have gone down.
Just about ready to start here. This is the super final.
Tom here in the commentary box just saying there's been another change of engine mode there for Marc Marquez, so thanks very much, Tom. Will that help him on the very short run down to turn 1? They're only 80-metre straight, so it's only just over an 80-metre drag because they're, of course, starting behind the corner, as Scotty said earlier on.
You have to translate that to American. 18-metre.
How many yards is 80 metres? I will try and tell you while they are going through. I have got it written down. 87 yards.
87 yards to the first corner.
I should have known that, but my maths are not good enough.
Is that what you think it is?
It's more or less. It's a little bit more than that because, of course, it's 87 yards between the exit of turn 4 and the entry to turn 1, so it's a little bit more than that.
And I asked Brad if they're going to shift off the gate into the first corner, and I said absolutely not. He said he cannot waste time shifting. So whatever Gary starts in, that's what he's going to leave it in. Here we go. Super final. Superprestigio.
The tension is palpable now. Make sure everybody's in line. The lever will drop. The gates will drop. They will be underway for the super final. 16 laps, 8 riders.
Here we
go. Here we go. Watch out for Ferran Cardús. Don't forget, he will be on the outside.
Marquez on the inside's got a good shot. Here comes the 23. 23 gets on the brakes early. It's the number 4 out front. Marquez in a second.
And Baker there in 3rd or 4th position. He's up the inside. He can't allow himself to get sucked too far back into the pack. Baker goes through then. He's up into that 2nd position. That was critical. He passed Thomas Scherer and he's up to 2nd. Marquez leads. Baker is 2nd. Scherer and Elias side by side. And Tony Elias is now up into 3rd.
Marc Marquez leads him off of 4th. Baker in 2nd. Elias up to the 3rd spot now. The cream rising to the top. It's Marquez and Baker.
And what is going to happen with those tyres, Scotty, as they get towards the end of this one? Is Baker being careful? Marquez, though, pulling away at the moment. Remember, he won this one in December 2014. Baker won January 2014 and December 2015. But at the moment, Elias is putting so much pressure on Brad Baker, who's at the inside.
Tony Elias making a move to 2nd place.
Oh, incredible. We're watching Marquez, but did Elias go through? Yes, he did. He's up ahead of Brad Baker. Look at the right-hand side. There he is. Elias is up into 2nd. So this is major news for Baker. Oh, and Baker's now coming under attack from Scherer as well, the Frenchman. And Marquez at the moment then romping away from the rest of the field.
Baker's fallen too far back. I don't think he can catch up now. He's got his hands full with the rider right behind him.
Wow, that's amazing stuff. Thomas Scherer is right behind him. We didn't expect this. Now then, can Elias catch Marquez? It's just come down, as you saw on the graphic, from 1.3 to 1.2. Baker and Scherer are going to have to work together now, but they're so far back. They're 2.47 now. 2.7 seconds behind is Brad Baker in 3rd place. What's happening behind? Trotter 5th from Simeon just. Cardús 7th. Bailo is 8th.
Halfway flags are in there. Best lap for Marc Marquez, 1:2.025. Now Elias, 1:2.012. Baker is under pressure for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, the gap at the front's come down to 1.1. Yellow flag waving.
Fernan Cardús goes down right in front of everybody. No harm, no foul. He gets out of the way. It's Marquez down the back straightaway. Tony Elias in 2nd. They're going to have to get Fernan Cardús out of the way.
Yeah.
Elias was catching him.
Yeah, that's Ferran Cardús there, the 2nd of the bikes. He's a lap down. Get out of the way, Ferran. Please don't ruin this race. Baker is still 3rd. There he is. He's holding off Thomas Scherer, but look how far behind they are.
He moves out of the way.
Yeah.
Elias now has clean sight up to the leader. Can he track him down? Baker back in 3rd.
Yeah, and Baker we're on board with as well there at the bottom of the screen. Can Elias do anything about Marquez? Moto2 World Champions of the past. Marquez has a moment. Marquez had a huge moment, and has the gap come down?
Here comes Tony Elias. Can he catch him?
Oh, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, I think, with only 3 laps to go. Look what's happening behind. That's the back marker again. Ferran Cardús moving out of the way. And the gap has gone up now for the first time to 1.1. Surely now this is going to be a 2nd Superprestigio win for Marc Marquez. He will equal Baker's record, and with Baker down in what would be a very disappointing 3rd place. But Tony Elias, he was uncomfortable with the setup until yesterday, and he's the closest challenger.
Here comes Elias closing the gap, going into 3, but not quite enough to make it happen. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go here at the Superprestigio.
Oh.
It's all you, Gregory.
And there is a collision at turn 1. Someone's down, but the fastest up is not enough for Elias because Marquez has done it again. Marc Marquez wins the Superprestigio of 2016 to the roar of supporters
The crowd
in Catalonia.
is all on their feet here in Barcelona. Marc Marquez, the Superprestigio Super Final main event winner.
And he's down, but it doesn't matter now. I think
the bike's down again.
This is turns 3 and 4, but he's done it. Well, it felt a lot longer than 3 minutes and 19 seconds. That was brilliant. Marquez does it again. He equals Baker. 2 wins now for Baker, 2 for Marquez, and for the first time, he has beaten Brad Baker in a straight fight. That really did not work out for Brad Baker. He ends up 4.5 seconds behind in the
Baker's
end.
clapping right there for him, shaking him hand.
Yeah,
Good sportsmanship right there. Good hug right there. Awesome to see.
Wow. So what went wrong then, Scotty, for Brad Baker?
I don't know if they missed the setup. He's looking at his rear tire right now, so something wasn't right. I don't know if they went with too much, too little air pressure, but he just couldn't get going. His fastest lap of the race was a 1:2.312, so 0.3 of a second slower than first and second place. Marc Marquez's fastest lap, 1:2.025. Tony Elias with the fastest lap of the race, 1:2.012, almost caught up to the leader.
Wow, fascinating stuff. What a year it's been, just as he did in 2014 when he had an incredibly dominant year.
Mark, he just about threw it down again. He just about crashed.
The bike control this guy has is incredible. He's changed the face of motorcycle racing since he made his debut, certainly in MotoGP in 2013.
He wants somebody to hold his motorcycle. He's going to his section over there. Everybody over there has a 93 flag. He's going to throw the goggles. He said, who wants them? Now he's coming to our side.
Here he comes.
Oh, he said, make some noise. They're trying to get him pumped up.
Well, thank you very much to all of you on Twitter, by the way, for all of your predictions. We even had JD Beach, racer himself.
Jiggy Dog, number 95.
Yeah, he sent one through. He said my money was on Brad the Bullet. He's certainly not scared, but I think a lot of us, to be honest.
And my Twitter feed's not working up here. My phone doesn't like you guys.
Wi-Fi problems. I'm lucky to have a Spanish data connection, I guess, on my phone. But thanks to all of you for your predictions. And whoever said Marc Marquez, well, you're right. He's done it yet again.
Impressive.
Of another wonderful year. This guy now, though, just to put it into perspective, he's not just a motorcycle racer. He's an absolute celebrity outright here in Spain. A massive celebrity now. You go around the supermarkets, his face is all over biscuit boxes and cars in the streets who like to sponsor him for their various companies. Into the crowd. Somebody's going to be very lucky to grab those goggles.
Now he's going over to the other side of the crowd. What else does he have? He's got his helmet. Is he going to throw his helmet in the crowd, do you think?
He might.
Oh, there goes something. He didn't make it.
I think the helmet's a little bit too expensive, probably, but...
Well, that might hurt somebody.
And that too, that's a very good point. Depending on who's catching these items, they're either going to be someone's pride on their mantelpiece back home, or they're going to be on eBay in the next few hours. I really hope it's the former.
You've got to keep that,
Whatever
it is. One of the most talented riders you will ever see in your lifetime. He's still out there throwing stuff into the crowd.
Well, he came to MotoGP in 2013. He became the first rookie Premier Class champion since the great Kenny Roberts on his Yamaha back in 1978.
Kevin Clark's throwing his gloves into the crowd as well.
Oh, yeah, Kevin's really giving it some. We can see it from our window. Marc Marquez, of course, we are rightfully watching as the winner of this event. But, I mean, let's just put this into perspective, Scotty. You could say he has some advantages, the fact that he knows these tyres and the electronics. We know he has a bit of an advantage, but to beat Brad Baker, and there is Kevin Clark, to beat Brad Baker in an out-and-out scrap like this, there's no mean feat at all.
How about Tony Elias? Fastest lap of the main event.
Incredible.
Was tracking down Marc Marquez. Incredible race. He's definitely stepped up his game. It's great to see. He's got a reinsurgence in his career. Came over to Moto America. Looks very strong. Impressive. He's probably the most impressive for me this whole weekend was the 24 Tony Elias.
And there's the confirmation of the final results. Marquez, Elias and Baker 1, 2 and 3. Then it's Simeon, Gerard Bailo. Well done, Gerard Bailo. That is, well, we can't really stress how impressive that is for the young Spaniard. Fantastic. Schrotter, Scherer was 8th, and the name I didn't mention there was Ferran Cardús because he was in 7th position. We expected a little bit more for Ferran. He was the dark horse coming into this one, caught up earlier on. He and Scherer a lap down. But certainly Cardús is going to have a big year ahead of him, Scotty, in 2017.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see him over in the United States racing against the best of the best. And we'll have to see what's going to happen. And there's Marc Marquez making the move to take the lead, and there, he was gone. Here's a look from the onboard camera. That's Brad Baker. That's as close as he's going to get to Marc Marquez. You can see his left boot, his left steel shoe, that's his light shoe, was touching the back tire of Marquez. But that's it. Yeah. That was as close as he was going to get.
It was, and there's the bike moving out of the way of, we saw that earlier on, of course, with the damage to that bike of Scherer. He managed to move out of the way, but well done, Marc Marquez.
And Chris Carr says hard track to make up time, but easy to lose time. That's from the 7-time champ.
Fantastic, and he's had a bit of a dark patch over the last few years. He was Moto2 world champion, but then he really struggled with some of the changes they had there in Moto2, but he's found a new lease of life now. As we said, he was 3rd in Moto America this year, and he's staying with the Yoshimura Suzuki to try and attack for the title next year. Out onto the podium they come.
This is for the Superprestigio Super Final Podium. Marc Marquez, your winner. Tony Elias, 2nd, and the Bullet. Brad Baker, 3rd place.
And we will have other podiums as well for the Open class, the Superprestigio class, and of course the Junior class as well. But we'll be wrapping up the coverage in just a few moments' time after the Superprestigio class. So very quick summary then, Scotty. Of course, we've seen some tremendous wins. Baker wins the Open class, Marquez wins the Superprestigio class, but your rider of the evening, you reckon, is Tony Elias?
That's my ride. Most impressive rider to me, Tony Elias. He was actually tracking down Marquez a little bit, had the fastest lap of that Superprestigio final, the Super Final. Whatever they found yesterday, it was definitely working. He's got some confidence. He's looking good in Moto America. Looked good here tonight. I'm very impressed.
And the picture speaks 1,000 words. Look at Brad Baker's face.
Oh, he wanted this one. He knew he had this one, I think.
Yeah, and he's not only just missed out to Marquez, he's finished some way behind this time in 3rd place. 4.5 seconds down. Even so, he's still 4 podiums out of 4. Right. Well, 3 out of 3, of course.
Brad's best lap in that main event was a 12.12.312, so 0.3 of a second slower than those 2 other guys. That's hard. That's hard to swallow.
Yeah, very hard to swallow. And I'm sure we'll hear later on some reports of some sort of problem. Obviously, there's been an issue. So stay tuned, of course, to DTX Barcelona on Twitter and also dtxbarcelona.com as well, the website.
Usually, at the end of my announcements in America, I say, you don't have to go straight home, but please go home straight. But I'm not talking to anybody that's leaving the racetrack, so I had to say it just because I say it at every race.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
You guys be careful over there in the United States, and we appreciate everybody tuning in all over the world here on fanschoice.tv. I've had a blast.
Yeah, me too, and thank you to all of you for everything around the world, for joining us, not just with the Dirt Track, but also all of the MotoGP, and in particular, thank you for me for tuning in to World Superbike this year, and of course the Superprestigio here tonight. I know you've been joining us all around the world, live in so many different countries, over 60 countries taking this feed. Fantastic stuff for Marquez, Baker and Elias, who is in 2nd position. And now, of course, we need to wait for a whole year, unfortunately, Scotty, to see it all over again. I'm not sure I can wait that long.
We'll have to watch this one over and over again, I think.
Yeah, we certainly will.
Elias has a USA stocking cap on. I think he's moving over to our side of the pond.
He's bought some merchandise when he's been over there this year, I guess.
Yeah.
So Marquez has got some other goggles because he threw some of them into the crowd. Here's a replay of the moment that matters.
Stand up, double checkered flag. Look how close Elias was.
He was so close in the end, just 0.7 of a second. It was 0.715 down to the 1,000.
There goes the champagne.
There we go.
Oh, see, Elias was covering up his head and tightening up his goggles so he can go after him. That's what they're doing. Like they do when they win the baseball championship. That's what they do in the locker room.
Yeah, and believe me, that's not just Marc Marquez trying to stop the champagne going in his eyes. That is also a sponsor opportunity for sure. He's very smart. He's a very smart guy. Well, fantastic stuff. Many, many thanks then from Scotty Dubler and myself, Greg Haynes, here in Barcelona. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all of you around the world. We will be back in 2017, certainly with the Superprestigio and all of the worldwide racing championships as well. It's been a superb fight between these two. Many expected it to be Baker, but it's Marc Marquez for the 2nd time, Superprestigio champion of 2016.